Wayne needs a stress relief. Well, welcome to the show, Wayne. And as usual, I would like to start the shows by giving a quick shout out to my third tier and above Patreons, which is Tim, Reese, Wayne, and Chris. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Without you, the shows wouldn't happen. And to everybody who jumps in and has a chat, thank you very much. Welcome, Chris. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, I'm pretty relaxed as usual. It's a late night show, which means anything can happen in the next couple of hours, whatever. We'll see what happens. So, as usual, I will open up the Discord chat in just a few minutes when I do my usual announcements, which is, of course, to send in your pictures. There's Chris's ancient that he couldn't get done the other night because we were talking about Chuck Norris jokes on the Discord. So, but it's done now and it looks fantastic. Don't forget to send me your pictures in onto any of my social media, and if you've got Instagram, feel free to let me know what they are and what it is, and you can be on my Instagram story and you'll get posted there. So there we are. I'm not 100% sure what I'll be doing this evening. I'm just gonna, I've still got those Tyranids just tucked down there, but I've been doing those for the last couple of shows. I was even doing it earlier on today with my daughter. She was painting this lovely fellow. So she did a wonderful job of doing that. And if I have a look, she refused to thin her paint, but she did manage to get reasonably thin coverage, so I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, so I've got my needs, I've got those gene stealers, and also I could possibly do some more guard for the kill team that I have. I have plenty of kill team up there, so I'm not really 100% sure what I want to be doing. So if anybody's got a preference, feel free to let me know. But I do kind of need to get this commission done and dusted and out of the way. It's also Wednesday, isn't it? I really have to spend tomorrow recording my Ask Me Anything because I still haven't done that. So I need to get on with that as well. But we'll get on with doing something and we'll see what happens. Alright, so if anybody wants to have a chat, you got questions, comments, or you want to just tell me what you're up to, feel free to let me know. And meanwhile, I will go and open that up there. There we are. So there we go. The Discord live chat is open as well now. And I will set up. Where's my thing gone? I've lost it. Where is it? There we go. Let's bring that up here. And we will have a look at what we're doing. Up to 5 viewers watching the show from the minute I start, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to come and say hi and we'll have a chat. Yeah, let's just have a look. Now, when I was doing these the other week, I think I was doing a show sometime last week. I managed to get the fang done on these Gene Stealer cultists, but kind of stopped there. I think that's the moment where I left the stream once I'd done that, because I couldn't do any more once the Agrax wash was on there. So we could pop a little bit of dry brushing going on these guys, which is what I might do just to begin with, at least. I mean, these G-Stealers are really taking their time getting done, and actually, quite frankly, this isn't all of the ones that I have to do. I still have another handful up here that need doing as well, so there's a lot to be getting on with. And they're not all the same either. We've got some what are these, neophytes? No, acolytes, something like that. I can't remember which one's which. So we've got a bunch of these bigger ones. We've got I don't even know what he is. I don't know what they're called. And there's some more of these guys. So we've got plenty to be getting on with, which I'm sure will be fun. But we're going to do it nice and slowly. We're not going to go crazy and get all worked up over it. I do need to have a look at the the Citadel painting app because, oh, excuse me, the colour that I use for these is actually based on the Space Wolf armour, so the Fang, but I dry brush them, which is a layer of rust grey. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'll dry brush some rust grey maybe, and then some Storm Fang. So I will do that. Where's me rust grey gone? It's a layer paint, so it should be yeah, there we are, rust grey. There we are. I tell you what I do now, I really do need to find myself one of those automatic paint shaker things. But I've got to find one that's not going to make an absolute racket when I do it. My wrist still hurts. Every time I paint, my wrist starts to hurt, shaking the paint pots. That app is handy for everything other than the Sons of Medusa. What's your colour scheme for Sons of Medusa? You see, the funny thing is, as I often use the painting app, not really for, I don't tend to look at Space Wolf armour or anything like that. I actually break it down by colours. So, I mean, I know that your guys are green, so I'll actually just look for a green that I liked and just copy that. But then having said that, I also just pick out, for my orange, I just grabbed an orange base coat and then dry brushed it orange. So it would be interesting to know what colours you use for your Sons of Medusa though. It's a very vibrant green you've got going on those actually. It looks fantastic. Moot green. Okay, yeah, that's a good start. Let's you base with a layer paint for a start. Bale tan shade, Uriel yellow, and Dawn yellow highlights. Oh, Caliban undercoat. Oh, there we go. Oh right, yeah. So I mean, Caliban and Moot green. Yeah, I mean, I think the Citadel don't tend to use those because you've got quite a jump between the two colours. Caliban green and Moot green don't tend to have. I think Citadel use. No, hang on. Warpstone Glow, I think, off the top of my head, rather than Moot green. I do have Moot green somewhere. Although actually, having said that, I thought I was using. No, that's Nebula green. Moot green. Yeah, I think that's the, yeah, I don't know. Took a few swings to refine it and get it to a point where I'm happy. Yeah, most of the time it does, especially if you're coming up with your own scheme. I'm always tweaking. I mean, even, you know, the guard for the kill team, it started off as being grey, and then realised that it didn't really look very good. Yeah, painting is a lot of trial and error. I've learned that quite early on. It's, you know, you're never going to get it right first time round. You certainly learn by, you know, just throwing some paints together and see what happens. Dry brushing these guys is so boring. It really does. It drags, these things do. Can't wait to be shot of them. One day you guys will get to see one of these random streams and it'll be something completely different. Most of the time it will be batch painting, I reckon. That's what I think most of these streams will be. Is, you know, for argument's sake, I might do a video about how to paint, you know, an orc boy or something, or an orc knob. And then there'll be just a bunch of live streams of me painting the rest of them in different colours or whatever. Because once you've seen a video about how to paint an orc boy, you don't really need to see any more. And I'll have 10 models knocking around, or 12 models or whatever it is knocking around, not really doing anything. You're going to put 50-50 Moot and Uriel together to make the first highlight. Honestly, I've dragged myself back crashing with the highlighting. Yep, I know the feeling. That's why I dry brush. No, it's yeah. I mean, it can. You see, the problem is when you start mixing colours to get a highlight, you then have to make sure that you get the same consistency all the time. Otherwise, from one model to the next, or from one unit to the next, your highlights are going to be different. And for some people, that's okay. It's not a problem. But you know, for some other people, especially if you're highly tuned into seeing different colours, you'll probably start noticing it, and then it'll drive you even more insane that it doesn't actually match. It's why I try my best to use colours all the time. Use them, you know, not mixing my colours. And the most you'll see me mixing colours is like highlights for one model, or my dry brushing. And that way, you know, with dry brushing, it's basically whatever's left on the brush, and that pretty much remains constant. But if I am trying to just highlight something, I do try and keep it to actual whole colours, and that way it doesn't matter how many I've got to do, or if I have to come back to the same recipe in the future, I've got a whole colour to use rather than having to try and mix a colour together. You're going to make a huge batch. I mean, that would have made sense. But even still, you'd have to make sure that you make enough to do everything that you want to do. I mean, the best way of doing that, I suppose, would be to buy 2 bottles of each, or 1 bottle of each, and mix them together. But that can expensive, I suppose. And then you got to try and figure out where you're going to store that paint so it doesn't dry out. Ooh, lots of grey left on these guys at the minute. It doesn't help, I think, when it comes to when you're trying to paint and you're just like, yeah, these are going to take forever. The more grey you can see, the longer it just seems it's going to take. Once you start covering up the models with enough paint, you start thinking, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I see where this is going. So, you know, the difference between these guys, which had literally just got the fangs, some storm fang and the skin done, whereas when we bring in, if I bring in a Tyrannid like this, and you go, oh no, actually that looks not far off finished, which is not. I mean, I've got some to do. I've got lots of dry brushing and some extra details and the base to do, but it looks okay. Whereas these guys, because they've got so much, oh, excuse me again, oh, so much primer and stuff on them. And you still see plenty of grey through them. They're just like, oh man, they're nowhere near done. Put it in a dropper bowl. God. Oh, you make me sick. I seem to have seen a resurgence of that recently. A lot of people start talking about dropper bottles again. I thought that had died away. I thought it was a fad. Ooh. I tell you what, I don't seem to be breathing properly today. I keep yawning. It's been a long day though, I suppose. Buy myself a drink. It's just Coke. Well, I might as well empty that bowl. Right. Where are we going now? You see, I need to keep an eye on this. Let's have a look at the, actually, I'll tell you what, who can I grab? I can grab this guy here, because he's got the flappy bits. Come over here. There we go. Right, what have we got on here? Do we need to go any higher with the highlights on that? Yeah, we might do. Where's the storm fang? No, that's Ethereum blue. Storm fang over here, there we go. Yeah, I think we might need to, just a little bit. Lovely. I'll just quickly give this a give these a little bit of a once over with the storm fang, just to make sure that they're as highlighted as they can be. To be honest, there's not much difference between Stormfang and Rust Grey, to be honest. It's going to be a bit of a slow one tonight, I think. Just trying to crack through these cultists. Sometimes I wonder why I do it to myself. Don't you just get sometimes you just look at the models on your shelf and go, I cannot be dealing with the kind of stuff that that's going to give me today. You just look at it and think, it's just not worth the hassle. Unfortunately, I've had that feeling for these guys for a couple of weeks now, so I need to get on with them. I need to get them done, get them out of the way and free up all my time rather than having them looming over like a dark cloud. Just, we're still here, still need painting. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy, once I've done them, I mean it's quite a grind to get them done in the first place, but once you get through them, or certainly I feel that once I get through them and I see them all finished, ready to go, and I'm like, yeah, that was worth it. Didn't feel like it at the time, but yeah, now that we got to the end, it's usually worth it. I don't feel too bad after that. Getting them done, that's the main thing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, you gotta keep saying that. There's paint is getting added to them. They are now closer to finishing than they were when I started this stream, and I mean that's something you gotta keep. Sometimes you do have to keep up the fight, because I mean even I enjoy painting. I love painting. It's my most favourite part of the hobby. I mean, at the end of the day, if I couldn't paint my own models, I probably wouldn't be interested. The painting is what draws me to the hobby, and I do enjoy doing every bit of it. But, even I still get to the point where I'm just like, oh, there's too much. I don't want to do it anymore. It feels like it's too much. And then I just noticed I've actually missed two of the models. Because they're up here. Look at this. There's still two more up there that I missed completely. Oh. Oh. Where's me Storm? Where's me Rust Grey gone? Where'd it go? I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. Oh, that's it. It's over here. I need to get some more holders for my paint. The paint's starting to get a little bit disorganised. I love those Hobby Zone, the Hobby Zone modular stuff. I mean, you can't see, no, you can't see any of it, but I'm sure most of you have seen what I have on my desk is my Hobby Zone hobby storage stuff, the magnetic ones. I do love those things. They're amazing. I'm surprised that there's only one company out there doing it, to be fair. At least to the extent and to the just general such good quality as the Hobby Zone stuff. I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there for storing paints and stuff, but I haven't seen anything that comes close to the Hobby Zone stuff. Hashtag not sponsored by Hobby Zone. you over there. Get you over here. So there we go. The blue that I started the other week is now been finished, which is handy. I do have a couple more models to do, but once I get down to 1 or 2 models, I can then concentrate on just like one model at a time and bang one out in a day, if that. That's a strange thing about painting, though, is that, you know, you can have a squad of guys in front of you, and for argument's sake, you could spend, I mean, obviously, some of you may have seen that, you know, this model, I still have him knocking around. I did him in 90 minutes on a Conquest show when I didn't have a magazine to do. Wayne was there watching me do it. 90 minutes to paint a Reaver. Oh, excuse me. So it is possible to speed paint, but it's a bit weird when you know, I could do all of these to the same standard this guy done, and probably get them done within 90 minutes each. But if you think, and you work that out in time, and then you actually realise just how long it does take you to actually paint them, the times don't match. It's not 90 minutes per model spread across 10 models to make 900 minutes. It doesn't seem to work that way, which is for me a bit strange. But then also at the end of the day, you actually have to get down and paint them. So yep, 90 minutes. Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he? I'll bring him out because not everybody has seen him. Hang on. Where's my controller? I'll break from those for a second so I don't have to look at him. So bring him up here, and whoop, there we go. So yeah, I mean, certainly nothing to be amazed at. But on the whole, yeah, that was a 90-minute model. Everything got painted and got weathered up because I made some mistakes or whatever I needed to do to hide the terrible stuff. Obviously no transfers or anything, no free-handed squad markings or anything. But yeah, on the whole, 90 minutes. Yeah, he was pretty good. I did enjoy that. But you know, it's possible to do a model in 90 minutes, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be a. You can't really equate that. You know, you can't do a squad of those in, you know, 5 of those in the same time. You know, it's weird. So I can do one of these guys. I'll do one of these, and I spend all day doing it. And so you think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, but it's not really. It doesn't seem to work out that way. Oh. What's next on the to-do list would be the next thing is finding out anybody who's got underclothes and put the blue on the underclothes. So I'll just go through sorting them out. Red cloth, I'm pretty sure that'll be red rather than blue. Yeah. Couldn't get a leg done in 9 minutes. Don't forget, I don't edge highlight. It wasn't edge highlighted in that time. But I would say though, is conversely though, I think it's one thing to hold up one model And so yeah, that just took me 90 minutes. But let me do this because I can hold these easier. Is this one, if I bring this up and bring it into focus. Yeah, the Reaver was done in 90 minutes, and the Blood Angel took me a day. So I mean, yeah, there is a correlation between the amount of time spent and the quality of the painting. But again, it's still not. There's no edge highlighting done. Still dry brush it all. But I mean, on the whole, yeah, they do spend. I did spend basically, yeah. Anyway, it's just showing off now. Oh. Let's get the quality right. There we go. Right, let's get some blue done on these guys. I can't remember the blue that I used, to be fair. Whoops. It's definitely a kind of a it's Canador Sky, I think. Canador Sky with a blue wash, and then Imric blue dry paint by the looks of it. So that's what I'll do. You need to try the 90-minute challenge. The BA looks awesome. Well, thank you very much. It would be cool. I did enjoy doing it. I certainly felt tired when I was finished, and I don't think it was a strictly 90 minutes. I think you can find it. You can find the video that I did it in. It's still on the channel. In fact, I do believe I actually named it a 90-minute painting challenge. I was waiting for a delivery of Conquest, so and I think it was actually I was waiting for the first. Was I waiting for the first delivery? Might have been what it was. So it'll only have been. It was early on. I think it was just after issue 5, maybe. No, 4 or 5. Might have been just after issue number 7. Off the top of my head, I can't remember where it was. Well, I was definitely waiting for a Conquest magazine delivery, and that hadn't arrived, so I didn't have a show to do. And then somehow the conversation turned into me painting one of the Reavers, and then somehow it ended up being, oh screw it, I'll try and get this guy done in the space of the episode. Which of course for Conquest, back then at least, was around about an 8 o'clock finish, so it certainly was a good time. I was knackered by the time I'd finished it though. It wasn't far over 90 minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Oh, was it really that close? I honestly, I can't really remember. I know that it keeps getting brought up, which is why I remember it's a 90-minute model, but I can't remember the show that well, to be honest. Kind of went by really quickly. I think it kind of basically became a point of, well, I've already started the model now, and it would be a shame to not finish it. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing to get it done. I do remember I used a hairdryer in that episode as well, so if you do go back and watch it, just be careful. Whenever I put things like washers or a base coat down and I need it to dry, I would have used a hairdryer. I think it turned out that it wasn't too loud. And I may have even muted it once or twice, I can't remember. But it certainly was a good time. Could have took more than 90 minutes waiting on Congress. Yeah, I think I was. I think I only had to wait the one show, which of course is a week, so it wasn't too bad. One thing I did want to ask actually is, my daughter really enjoyed the show that we did earlier on in the day. I'd love to know what other people think of that show. Whether you've seen it all yet, or if you've just had a look, maybe. It would be nice to see. She probably wants to do more, but I'd like to know what people thought of it. Honestly, of course. She might want to do some more, but if it's not really something that was entertaining enough, then it's no biggie. It's not like she won't get to paint anything, but I won't make you have to suffer through listening to it. But yeah, it would be nice to know what people thought about that show, and my other two as well. I mean, if my youngest gets to do YouTube videos with Daddy, my other two will probably want to get involved as well. So yeah, let me know what you thought. I've looked into getting Conquest. A few are sold out. Really wanted issue 8 for the Librarian. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Yeah, I mean, it is available in Spain now, so if you're not really interested in the magazine itself, perhaps if you happen to know anybody in Spain, or perhaps keep an eye on the Conquest fan sites, perhaps you might be able to get a hold of one. I mean, I know Tim had me and Wayne kind of sending some over to Holland for him, so yeah, it's yeah, you might want to have a look into that. Evening Springs, thank you for joining us. She was funny. Is Wayne the internet? Yeah, she seemed to be really confused. Well, I said she wanted to talk to the camera, and I think she thought people were in the camera. That was bizarre. I don't think she fully understood exactly the concept of streaming on YouTube, but I mean, she certainly had some fun. And like I said, if you guys found it entertaining and stuff, then fair enough. But likewise, if you didn't really, and it was just like, oh, it was a novelty, it was fine, but probably not seeing it very often would be better, then by all means, that's perfectly fine. And like I said, it's not like she's not going to get to play with her dad, and I'm not going to stop her from painting just because she can't do it on YouTube. It's just be nice to know whether you guys actually thought it was worth something I should consider actually trying to do more often. But it's like I said, I don't really, it's not like I don't want to seem like I'm using my kids to get people to watch. It's definitely not what I want to come across. It's just she knows that Well, all three of my kids, they know that Daddy uses YouTube a lot, and yeah, they're interested. Trying to get around these guys' arms is going to be quite difficult. The downside of pre-assembling everything is trying to get your brush into all the right areas. It's not a big issue, you just got to make sure that you're careful in which order you paint things in, so you can always make a mess on some parts of the model because you're going to brush over it anyway. I think I've pretty much got it, which is handy. Yeah, number 8 was a good issue. A £22.50 model for $7.99. I mean, it's a ridiculous kind of savings going on there for that one. At some point I need to go get myself the because that librarian will eventually, once it's painted, go straight into my Space Marine kill team. I really want to see if I can get myself some of the rules for kill team. Some of the cards that come with the models you can only get in certain boxes, which is a real pain, especially considering they're actually getting rid of they've got rid of some of the kill zones that have, you know, kill zone cards and special boards that all interlink with each other, which is also annoying, and you can't get them all. I'm hoping they'll come back in the future, maybe they'll just cycle through the various kits. My local GW manager was less than helpful when trying to discuss the GW's business practices. I don't really fully understand it, but I kind of hope that he'll be able to help me track down various precedents. Do you do much sub-assembly on other stuff? If so, any tips? Yes, I do. In fact, this model here, the Thursday night show model, is Eisenhorn. And so basically, hang on, I'll bring him up. So yeah, he's got lots of cloaks and stuff that obviously painting under here is going to be difficult. I'm painting like the top of that cloak is going to be difficult. And this comes in about 12 or 18 different pieces or whatever, I can't remember exactly. But now I can get to all of that bottom cloak here. This cloak on the inside is just going to probably be one colour, so I don't need to worry about that. And likewise I can move this around and paint that. The only other tips I would say is, yeah, when you're building a model and you're not sure if you want to do sub-assemblies or not, I think the most important part of any model building is the dry fit. Because at the end of the day, if you dry fit everything, you're going to be able to, let's move that up a bit because I'm not slouching now. If you dry fit everything together, just to be on the safe side, if you look at anything and you think you're not going to be able to get to it with a brush, then don't glue it. In fact, actually, I do have. Oh, let's grab this guy here. The librarian model from Conquest. In fact, what we've been talking about. His cloak is actually going to be quite difficult to put together. So simply, he's not glued on his base, and he's all been primed. Because I knew that if I don't glue him to his base, I can get underneath here. But because he's been primed, and when you look at the model like this, you can't see any blue areas because of the way it was primed. I also know that anything that's blue, once it's glued, you're not going to see. Because I even glued him very, very lightly with super glue to the base. So that I can actually still, if I just give that a quick scrape, I can still plastic glue that to the base without it being without it being too much of a problem. So yeah, I mean, those are kind of two tips that I would say. They're probably the two main tips I would say. Is make sure you dry fit everything, and when you, just before you prime it, because there's no point in priming on the sprue, so just before you prime it, if you do glue it together and you're not sure whether it needs sub-assembling, you can use just tiny bits of super glue to put a model together, or even blue tack, which comes off completely. Make sure there's no blue tack on show when you're finished, and when you prime it, you'll be able to see what you can and can't see. As long as you've evenly primed everything, when you pull that apart, you'll be like, oh, okay, I can see what I can and can't see. And so then when you're looking at where the brush is and isn't able to go, then you've got basically a template to follow. The librarian is cheaper for KillTube, and it's the same model, and you get the cards with it. Yep. I wanted to get a couple of Primaris librarians anyway, so I want to get the one for KillTube. If you want to dig through spare issues, oh right, okay. It was a pain to make, yeah. It was a little bit. I did use some plastic glue to help seal that line up. Let me see if it comes up nicely on the old there we go. It didn't really cover very well, but I did try. I think it worked better on that side, like that. Using the old plastic glue to fill gaps, just basically melt the joint and then just scrape it smooth when you're done. I have actually used my plastic glue. I think I was talking to, I think I was doing it on the Discord. I was popping up something on the Discord about what I was doing. Now I did try and use it on the live show on Eisenhorn. But I did actually put something together recently using my plastic goo, and you know what, for the life of me I can't remember what it was I was doing. Oh yes I do, I know exactly what it was. Here we go, this is an interesting thing. So using plastic goo, so basically this is just, all it is if I can find my bottle of the stuff. Now obviously some of you would recognise it as Tamaya extra, whoops, sorry about that with anybody with headphones, Tamaya extra thin cement, yeah, that's all that is. And then I just chopped up bits of sprue and just let it melt in there. So basically, and tell you what, let me bring it up large so that you guys can see this properly. So yeah, this is just chopped up bits of sprue that is just melted in there. So now basically all it is just gloopy mess. That's all that is. It's a big gloopy mess of just plastic and solvent all glued together. However, just down there you can just about see, because it's the very first time I did it, you see those tiny air holes along there, and it goes up along that line there. This was a bit of a gap in his cloak. Let me try and fine tune that so it's really seen, but obviously there we go. And let's get what's it. So yeah, the line goes along here. I can paint it with a bit of water for you to see it. Goes along there. You can see by using that glue, by using the plastic glue, and you can then scrape that off. And for me, it works better than green stuff because you haven't got to worry about filing. It just acts like plastic. It's not like a different material that bridges the gap between the two. It's just plastic. Once the solvent is set and it's evaporated, it's just plastic, and so you just scrape it off. And now I do actually remember exactly what model it was that I was doing it with. It was this model here, and so you can just about see that there's a gap there. Now the thing is, this is a seam in the coat, so there's another one on that side, so it's not a major issue to get that one completely filled in, but you could, if you wanted to, just add some more of that plastic goo along there, and then once it's dry you just scrape it off like you would any other mold line. And I could do the same thing up here as well if I wanted to. That was another little kit bash for the guard kill team. This is Tempestus Prime for one of the commanders. So yeah, plastic goo. Another little thing. I didn't come up with that, by the way. That was yeah, I found that on the internet. Various yeah, older modelers have been doing that sort of thing for years. They just don't tend to go out and buy a brand new bottle of Tamaya extra thin cement to do it in. They tend to use a pot that's already running a bit dry, and then just top it up with some sprue just to make the most of it. See, that's what this show's all about. Oh. So yeah, I'm gonna get. Oh, excuse me. My body's doing all sorts of functions today. Yeah, I'll carry on with doing those in just a couple of minutes to take a break for a minute. It's been a long day. Been a long day. Had car trouble. I went to go and pick my boy up from his holiday group today. He does that once a day, once a week, whenever they're on holiday. Ended up driving out there, and my car smelt like an old banger. Genuinely, it smelt like a stock car. We're going to stock car racing. Man, it was a nightmare. And it turned out that the cap where you put the oil in the car, that had broken. And so basically, oil was just getting chucked out of the engine. All over the gearbox, all over the engine, all over everything under the bonnet. And then obviously because it was so hot, it just starts to smoke, burning off. And it's like, oh man. Rung up the breakdown people, and they said, yeah, it could be about an hour before, 60 to 90 minutes before we get there. And I had my boy in the car. He was waiting to get home for his dinner. And I was like, oh, it's so cold. I don't want to be out here for an hour to 90 minutes. But I did go to the cinema this morning with my daughter as well. She watched the Lego Movie 2, so that was fun. So yeah, it's been a long day. I think when I'm finished here, I will probably go to bed rather quickly. Which means there's plenty of time on Discord tonight for you lot just to level up like crazy. I'm losing all my bits and pieces on my screen. There we go. Ooh, so yeah, it's been a long day. I think I'm gonna chill out tomorrow until the live stream tomorrow night. I reckon that will probably be a much needed rest. That's why we'll try and get some of these Gene Stealers done tonight, or the Gene Stealer coats. Lego Movie 2 is awesome. Took my daughter to see it too. You know what? I did doze off a little bit, so I think in the middle I was kind of dozing a little bit, so I kind of missed a little bit of the story. It was alright. I mean, I wouldn't, it's a kids movie, so I'm not going to start slating it for being childish or whatever. I mean, I kind of understood it. It was kind of cool. It had a good meaning behind it. I kind of enjoyed the message that they were trying to get across with it. It was pretty good. Although I must admit I wasn't necessarily a massive fan of the first one. I did kind of enjoy it a bit more, I think, than the second one. But just generally because I think the first one I didn't expect the underlining story behind the first movie. I honestly didn't make the connection between, what was on screen and what was actually happening. It wasn't until, the live action right at the end that I was like, oh, I understand it now. And I think it's also because I was looking into getting into, Lego building as well. And I think at the time that movie came out, I just decided not to go into it. I was like, oh, okay. But I think it was kind of because I kind of went into the second one knowing that there was going to be an underlining story. It was kind of like I kind of sat there waiting for it, and then it was there, and I was like, yeah, okay. I kind of agree with the story that they're trying to tell. So yeah, I don't know. It was a good movie. I'm not going to slate it. It was a good movie. I just didn't quite find it as awesome as I found the first one. Not cool about the car, no. No, not really. But thankfully, I mean, it does seem that it's just an oil cap that I need to replace. So it's not going to cost much just to grab a cap just to replace it. Get rid of the chamois sponge that I rammed into it just so that I could get home. I mean, originally the mechanic, the recovery guy came out. He looked at the car. He goes, "That looks like a head gasket has gone." But he followed me home from where I was because he was like, he didn't really want to tow me home. We had a look under the hood, and it was just like, yeah, there was oil everywhere. And we're just like, you can't diagnose this. But he turned the engine on with the bonnet up, and he was like, oh. And I was like, oh yeah, the cap was shaking around like crazy. It was broken. He goes, okay, well, if we just shove something in there just to block the hole, just so he had some oil in his van, and just block the hole up. And said, well, I'll follow you home, and then we'll see what happens. I said, fair enough, because he could flash me over and pull me over if I needed to stop. And he said, when we got back, he said, yeah, that car's running perfectly fine. There was no smoke coming out the back end of it. It was purely just coming out from under the hood, which is where the oil was just burning away. It's like, yep, should be an easy fix. Oh, and everybody started singing "Everything Is Awesome." But I do believe, I do believe the song in that movie is that everything is not awesome. So no, not everything is awesome. Saying everything is awesome. You know what? And you know, this is what I really wish I could do. I really wish I could put emojis. I don't know how to import emojis or how to create external emojis. Otherwise, everything is awesome would have a bunch of Lego figures as an emoji, and it would just come up as a bunch of figures. And I have absolutely no idea how to create those things. You see it on Twitch all the time, and yeah, I really wish that I could do it, but I don't understand how it works. So don't ruin it. It's been one of those days. I'll ruin it all. I'm gonna ruin it all. Although my missus did bring me a catapult back from she went to the Combined Military Museum today. It was like she bought me a catapult back which actually works, which is kind of cool. Anyway, I have lost a piece. I think I have lost the Space Marine head once already today by flinging this across the room. It's like, oh, yep, I've lost the Space Marine head. That's gone. It just catapulted across the room. Right. I am done with Gene Stealer Cults today. I've done a bit more. I've given them a dry brush. I have added some blue to the models. I have washed the blue to the models. I'm going to have to keep these separate actually, because I need to dry brush the extra blue. So keep those guys separate. These guys are the ones with the extra blue, so we'll have to do that. I am done with Gene Stealer Cults today. What could we do instead is I'm going to... where's the time? It's just gone 10 o'clock. I'm going to throw some black over these guys. Because I'm hoping that these guys, I mean, I don't always use painted models on mine and Reese's Tuesday night Kill Team games, but it is nice to. And it would be nice to see these guys on the tabletop fairly soon, so if I throw some black on these guys. Yeah, that'd be cool. And get these started. I've got so many projects on the go though, it's ridiculous. And I do still have a bunch of Dystopian War ships to do as well, if things get really rough and desperate, because the Dystopian War stuff is fun to do because it's so easy. It is purely just base coating all of the different colours and then just throwing a wash over it and it's done. It does make life very easy. But I'm just trying to think about the best way to do this. I think it might be an idea. Now normally, you see, I don't tend to do a lot of black undercoating, which is why these guys haven't had it. Oh, sorry, a black primer. But I think these probably could have done with a black primer, only I don't own a black primer. So I am just going to give these guys a once over coat black, which will be helpful. And then they can be dry brushed again. Lots of dry brushing as always. There is no point in stressing about edge highlighting all of these guardsmen, especially considering I do at some point want to go get the guardsman kill team box. In fact, actually I could probably get the guardsman commander box as well. That's probably a commissar in that, isn't it? I do need to get a commissar, although I think Reese said that she's got a spare one. I could get another one though, give him a different weapon option. Yeah, I don't tend to undercoat black very often because, you know, it tends to darken the colours down beneath it, but I am using a really bright orange as an armour colour, so having it slightly darkened will do some nicely. Yep, as always, yeah, dry brushing not just for noobs. Dry brushing is indeed a skill in and of itself. It can be mastered just like any others. The other thing you can do as well is what a lot of people say is you can paint in layers. I don't necessarily paint these guys in exactly the right layers, but one of the tricks of painting things is you paint from the underwear out. So you could start with the skin, build that up, and then gradually build up the colours on top of that. I mean, it doesn't always work because obviously if you're dry brushing is messy. So you tend to want to dry brush from the largest areas down. But it's kind of a philosophy I've been exploring recently. So I'll do his regular clothes and then his boots. Then I'll do his armor on top of that, and then his accessories and his guns and stuff. So we'll kind of follow that pattern of painting from the inside out. Although his skin will tend to get done after his gun, and his armor gets done in two different stages. I'll do his body armor, but his helmet won't actually get done until right at the end. It's kind of the last thing that I do. Just before doing all the gold. Bit of a random thought of the day, that is, really. I mean, the black is definitely, it's not normal that black doesn't go on in one coat, but it's definitely going to need a couple of coats of black. Yeah, paint from the underwear up. In other words, paint from the inside out. Alright, Springs, thank you for joining us anyway. It has indeed been a long day. I agree with you there. This might actually be quite a short stream, to be fair. But yeah, Chris, I did. I said, yeah, paint from the underwear up, or more to the point, the underwear out. Now, of course, if you can't see the model's underwear, you know, paint boxes onto them. um, or tighty whities or whatever it is you want to do. But yeah, it's kind of, you can paint from the inner layers out, and that's pretty much what I've been doing with the Gene Stealer Colts as well. Skin can be a bit difficult depending on where you do it, but on the whole, Gene Stealer Colt skin I do first. I don't do the carapace parts, but I then do the under trousers that they're wearing. And it's kind of like what I've been doing with this guy as well. Actually, I have been doing it. I did his skin, then I did his undergarments. Then I'll be doing this kind of the armor panels. Then I'll do the coat, and then I'll do the accessories that he's got on it. And so yeah, it kind of goes from from the undergarments outwards. Y fronts on a Marine. Logan Clover. Can you say Bunyan for me? Why would I want to say Bunyan? You never painted a Space Marines undercrackers. I've just got that image in my head now. Space Marine in Y fronts. Oh, yeah, right. Let's thin down the black just a little bit more. And like I said, I don't normally do a big black coat, big black undercoat, because it can really darken what you're doing underneath it. And I think I'm only doing it on all of these guardsmen because they're basically a fire team and they're all identical. So having those darker tones probably won't make a difference when we get up to the orange. I think the specialists and all of the individual characters, I've kind of been doing them nice and slowly, so I'll only be painting the black, highlighting the black and doing the black, then moving on to a different colour, trying to keep as tidy as I can as I do it. But because these guardsmen, they're just guardsmen, there really doesn't matter about keeping everything all perfectly organised. Certainly would appear that my Streamlabs has crashed again. I don't have 5 people watching. Bring up Streamlabs again. View counter. There we go. That's what I want to do. Save changes though, yeah. That's better. Get that looking right. There we go. So every time I stream, we get that issue of not having the right viewer counter on the screen. I've also been thinking about Twitch again, thinking about going over to Twitch as well as doing what we're doing here. Not really 100% sure exactly how I want to do it, and I'll probably give it some thought for the Ask Me Anything on Friday. I do just call it an Ask Me Anything, but it is also an update video. It's a way for me once a month to tell you subscribers exactly how I'm planning on doing things and any changes I plan on making, and any news for the channel. I'll do that once a month, so yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking about hitting up Twitch again. I was on it well, a few months ago. I was streaming to the pair of them when I was using XSplit. Now I use OBS. I should be able to have it's lighter on the CPU, but then I also would then have to use a restreaming app on my computer, which will cost money. So it's something I've been thinking about. But I would love to hear some feedback as well. Either on, you can all pop that onto the Discord if you want to have a discussion about it. Might need to lose a bit of screen real estate so that, you know, both YouTube and Twitch can all see each other. Alternatively, I can just keep you all in the dark, and just when anybody on Twitch is talking to me, I'll reply to the person on Twitch, and if anybody on YouTube is talking to me, I'll reply to the person on YouTube. But it's something I'm thinking about. I would love to hear your thoughts on it as well. And then start from the end again. This is a job. It's one thing I do like about having 10 models on the go at once, is that you can kind of do these kind of large scale, certainly these quick coats, and you can throw some paint down, get that done, and by the time you get to the end of the squad, you can start again. And you just keep moving. Get a nice even coat of black, which of course, like I said, if I'd have primed these guys in black, I probably wouldn't need to do this bit. Could have just gone straight into highlighting them. But don't forget, when I did prime these guys, they were just going to be a dark grey to begin with, and it wasn't until I realised that they were pretty much identical to my Gene Stealers, I was just like, yeah, I'll change that. doesn't quite feel right. On the upside, it means that if I do any more, then I know that I'll prime them in black. I'll buy some black primer. So long as the black primer actually has the same finish as Abaddon black, which is one of the reasons why they said if you're priming Chaos black but you've got a black model, you probably want to go over it with Abaddon black anyway, because Chaos black has a certain level of satin finish to it. So you might want to go over it in Abaddon black just so that you can actually touch up any mistakes you make over your primer. Because if you just leave it as the Chaos black primer, the Abaddon black touch-ups will stand out because they're more matte than the spray paint is. Right, let's grab a little bit more black. A little bit of a thin down. Dry, a wet palette is starting to dry. Just a little bit more than I would like. It's not like automatically thinning my paints as much as I would like it to normally. +10. I think I'm going to finish these guys and then finish the stream. I think, of course, as always, I won't just end it, but yeah, I think we'll wrap it up after I finish these last two guys. Wasn't realised until after I'd hit the stream button that I realised how much of a long day it's been, and just in general, I am knackered. I'm going to watch some TV tonight, I think. I would love to know when CW Network's Flash, Arrow, Supergirl and stuff come back. I'm waiting for that. I'm pretty sure it's out in the US already. I thought we only get it like a week behind them. I used to be able to get into a proper bedtime routine with those. I'd finish working at 11 and I'd go in and I'd watch one of those episodes and then head off to bed and enjoy me evening in the land of Nod. But I certainly have plenty of stuff on the go now. I've got Gene Stealers, Tyranids, Dystopian Wars and Guards Kill Team, and I am absolutely hammering everything out, which I am really happy with. It's been a pleasure getting most of this, getting all this stuff done. But yeah, I think we'll wrap this one up. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not just gonna. DC will move, Marvel. Yeah, what? To be honest with you, the Marvel TV shows don't do it for me. Agents of Shield does, but I haven't seen Runaways. I tried watching what's the X-Men spin-off? The what were they called? Um, I can't remember what they were called, but the X-Men had disappeared, and can't remember what that was. But anyway, it wasn't working for me. Most Marvel, for some reason, you see, in my opinion, Marvel do the best movies. I mean, by far. I mean, obviously, um, but they don't do TV well, in my opinion. I mean, Agents of Shield is separate. I think I enjoy that, but Marvel don't seem to do TV well. The Inhumans was terrible. I just couldn't get into it. I just could not watch it. But DC do terrible movies, but their TV show is pretty good. I do like that, especially with their recent crossover, the Elseworlds. That was pretty good. Um, DC do to TV what Marvel do to movies quite well, and the CW network has made a pretty decent universe for their TV shows. So it's pretty good. Oh, by far the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is by far, and I agree with you, is by far the best multi-platform universe out there. Absolutely. Um, but Marvel just don't do good TV shows. It hasn't. None of it has gelled with me yet. All of them. I've tried watching them and they just don't work. Not for me anyway. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, the DC movies suck. I mean, they're terrible. I mean, Aquaman was alright. Wonder Woman was probably the best. Man of Steel was pretty good, but Batman vs Superman and Justice League were terrible. And the what was the other one? Oh, Suicide Squad was yeah. Punisher series was great. Honestly, I never watched it because I saw Daredevil season 1. Thought, wow, that got a bit heavy in places. I saw Jessica Jones and didn't see what the big deal was. I tried getting into season 2 of Daredevil. Whoa, have I got a problem with my internet again? Doesn't look like it. I do apologise if this disappears. Yeah, Martha, do me a favour. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, so I tried watching. So yeah, the Marvel TV shows on Netflix. Daredevil season 1 was alright, but I mean it was a bit heavy. Jessica Jones I didn't understand to the point I just didn't understand her as a character. And Iron Fist looks like it was going to be alright. Luke Cage was good as a supporting character for Jessica Jones, but I didn't feel like he carried his own series very well. And so yeah, and I think I watched the second season of Iron Fist. You see, they're also not memorable for me. I can't actually remember how much of what I've watched because it just didn't stick with me. But Ben Affleck as Batman was never going to work. You know what? I don't agree with that. I think Ben Affleck as Batman was good. Would have been a very good, as long as they actually gave him a decent movie to be in the first place. The problem with Batman vs Superman wasn't the characters. It was the movie itself. It was just terrible. And considering, not forgetting, that Warner Brothers had ruined the entire movie with the first trailer. There was nothing left for you to be surprised about with that movie. They gave you Batman versus Superman with Lex Luthor, Doomsday, and the DC trilogy all in that one trailer. The DC trilogy being, you know, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Everything was in that trailer and ruined the entire movie because there was nothing left. I walked into, I sat down. I didn't walk into. I didn't go to the cinema to watch BBS. I sat down to watch that DVD, knowing what the plot was because I'd watched the trailer. And that's what ruined that movie. I don't think Ben Affleck, he's no Christian Bale for sure, but to be honest with you, I don't think Christian Bale was a very good Batman. The movies were incredible, but Christian Bale didn't make anything, he wasn't spectacular as a Batman. In fact, he kind of created his own meme when once he hung, what's his name, upside down and goes, "Where are the other drugs going?" It's just, he made himself into a meme doing that. I don't think Christian Bale was a particularly good Batman. It's just that when you add Christian Bale to a good Batman movie or good Batman trilogy, created fantastic, fantastic Batman movies. So I don't think that the opposite is true for Ben Affleck. I don't think that Ben Affleck being a bad Batman is oh no, I'm Batman, that's it, swear to me. Yeah, that was yeah, I'm Batman. Yeah, it was yeah, he memed himself. But yeah, I don't think Christian Bale, I don't think Ben Affleck as a bad Batman made those movies terrible. I think he probably could have been a very good Batman. If you'd have put Ben Affleck in Batman's place in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, you probably would have loved it just the same, because it was the entire package and Christopher Nolan's direction. Because not forgetting, Christopher Nolan, previous to doing the Batman trilogy, had pretty much written himself a do whatever you want kind of card. Now I don't know what YouTube channel I saw that said, but basically his body of work before working on Batman was so good that Warner Brothers was just like, well, you want some money to go make a movie, okay, yeah, we know that you can do what you want to do, and so they let him do it. Once he said, no, I'm not doing any more, this is just a trilogy, that's it, I've done a Batman trilogy, I don't want to do anymore, and I'm not going to do anymore. Warner Brothers wanted to cash in on that and create a dark and moody DC extended universe, and they screw it up. In fact, I remember the New Rockstars, I think it was New Rockstars, the YouTube channel of them, they said if you watch the Batman vs Superman trailer but turn the color saturation right up, it looks 100 times better, because Marvel think that we want to watch a DC universe that's dark and moody because that's what Christopher Nolan did, but we don't. Christopher Nolan's Batman worked because he had the whole package of dark and moody and realism, whereas the DC extended universe isn't grounded in realism. And yeah, I could go on for hours talking about why the DC movies suck. But the DC TV shows are pretty good. So yeah. Take that, everyone. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. Oh dear. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Wow. That was I love it when this show gets derailed like that. That came out of nowhere. And no, I did go to college to study movies for yeah, Will Rant. Yeah, I did study media for 3 years at college. So I mean, I tend to sit down and split everything apart in terms of, not just what you see at face value, but everything that means underneath it. So yeah, that's my rant for the day. It's cool, apart from being DC. Have you watched the DC TV shows though? You see, it's one thing not watching it because it's DC, but then if you haven't watched it, see, I think they're pretty good. I tried watching the Marvel TV shows and they just weren't very good. I couldn't get into it. Although I do make an exception for Agents of Shield because it's pretty good. I think it's because the Agents of Shield is almost a direct spin-off from the movies, whereas the others don't seem to be. So it's weird. I don't understand the whole DC Marvel camp. I mean, I'm quite happy with superheroes in general as an umbrella thing. So just me. I'll watch most superhero things apart from BBS. Yeah, I mean I will. I think I do enjoy Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was a really good movie from what was usual, tights and perfect invulnerability movie, pants on the outside kind of ridiculousness that comes with Superman. I thought Man of Steel was a really good take, and I thought Man of Steel was really going to kick off. I thought Man of Steel was really going to kick off the DCU, to be honest with you. No, you haven't. You don't like DC, so you don't want to. Fair enough. Agent of Shield was good to begin with, but I got bored with it. Where am I at the minute? I think I'm season 3, season 4 of Agents of Shield. I kind of been watching on Sky Q, so we differ hugely on Superman. You know what? Honestly, I do like Superman. As the whole pants on the outside, complete invulnerability to everything apart from a little green glow and rock. I know there's more to him than that, but I do enjoy the campiness of Superman. But I thought Man of Steel was an interesting view on it, and I thought Man of Steel was going to do something for the DCU. So. But to be honest with you, my superhero knowledge pretty much just comes from TV and movies anyway. So, I mean, I think, I've never read a comic in my life. So, you thought it could have been better. Man of Steel wasn't perfect. I do think that there were things that could have been done differently. But I think it was certainly interesting. And it was nice to see that kryptonite wasn't his weakness. It was nice to see that they weren't just going to use a rock as his one weakness. Although he's got two, isn't he? He's invulnerable to he's vulnerable to magic as well, I believe. But DC, doesn't tend to go into magic too often. Certainly not in the movies, anyway. Let me just. Oops, I've just gone and done something silly with that. That's what I'm looking for. Alright. Well, I think that was enough of a rant of superheroes. I thought Ghostbusters was better. Don't tell me the all-female one. Don't get me started on that. That's a whole different rant. That is an entirely... That would fill up an hour and a half show by itself. All right. I think we'll wrap it up. I was going to wrap it up about half an hour ago. Well, 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago. And we got to start talking on superheroes in the media. But yeah, I think it's been a pleasure having you here. Like I said, I've got all sorts on the go. And it's been a long day. And this is the second live stream of the day. I know I said I wanted to do some more of these, but you're getting lucky with these. Obviously, if you're watching in the future, or if you happen to be dropping in, no, there's only 3 people watching now anyway. If you happen to be watching in the future, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell button next to it, because these things don't... I have 2 live shows a week that I know for a fact they're going to be on, and a 3rd live show every other week that I know is going to be on. Other than that, these live shows will just happen as and when they actually happen. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell button, and then you get notified whenever I hit that live button. And I'll be here. And don't forget, as always, there hasn't been much need for it today, but check in the description below for all of my links to all of my social media, where you can find the Discord channel, you can find Instagram, you can find Facebook, and Wayne has done it just now. He's thrown up the support link in the live chat, or you can find the Patreon link in the description below, where you can help support the channel should you wish. So Chris and Wayne, thank you very much for coming up over from the Discord chat and joining with me tonight. I'm going to go watch some TV now, I think. And who have we had? Logan Clover. I don't know what that question was all about. We had Brinks come in and drop us a line. Did we have somebody else earlier on as well? I know I keep forgetting now. I keep doing the shows and I then forget who's been here. We've had Chris, we've had Springs. I don't think we've had many other people. Or if they were here, they didn't really say much. So thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. Alright guys, so thank you for watching this one, alright? And I'll catch you in the next one. Alright? Dara.